जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। जमुना तीरा बनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। जमुना तीरा बनचारी। जमुना तीरा बनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। श्री श्री राधा कालाचांद जी की, श्री श्री राधा गोविंद जी की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय। शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सागना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna everyone. So today we are going to talk about the killing of demon Aghasur, chapter 12, canto 10, verse number 25 to 33. Yes. So let's start reading from text 25. Am I audible? Yes, ma'am.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is situated as Antaryami, the Supersoul in the core of everyone's heart, heard the boys talking among themselves about the artificial python. Unknown to them, it was actually Aghasura, a demon who had appeared as a python. Krishna, knowing this, wanted to forbid his associates to enter the demon's mouth.
In the meantime, while Krishna was considering how to stop them, all the coward boys entered the mouth of the demon. The demon, however, did not swallow them, for he was thinking of his own relatives, however, who had been killed by Krishna, and was just waiting for Krishna to enter his mouth.
Krishna saw that all the cowherd boys, who did not know anyone but him as their lord, had now gone out of his hand and were helpless, having entered like straws into the fire of the abdomen of Aghasura, who was death personified. It was intolerable for Krishna to be separated from his friends, the cowherd boys. Therefore, as if seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder and unsure of what to do.
Now what was to be done? How could both the killing of this demon and the saving of the devotees be performed simultaneously? Krishna, being unlimitedly potent, decided to wait for an intelligent means by which he could simultaneously save the boys and kill the demon. Then he entered the mouth of Aghasura.
Okay, can we wait, please? Can we pause for a moment? So the story begins when so many demons attack Krishna in Mahavan, and Brajvasi, they were like tormented by the thought where when demons were coming into their house and attacking on him. So they wanted to change that place, and also they gave the reasoning that it's been long since they are in Mahavan and the grass is not so good. So these all are external reason, but they really wanted the safety of Krishna. So they decided to move in Vrindavan. So they all took their karma towards Vrindavan, and they did various fun activity while on the way to Vrindavan, and finally they reached to Chatikara. And how it is called Chatikara? That their cart, they put it in the half circle, semicircle form, and there it was like near Yamuna to Kaliyadaha. So they stayed there and they put their camp and they made their home. So after that, Nand Maharaj wanted them to go with them. It was boy's desire to go with Nand Maharaj for cow herding, but Yashoda Maharani thought that it's not safe for them to go, and also she was feeling separation, so she didn't want them to go. And finally, they decided that okay, if we cannot go with Nand Maharaj so far, then we will do calves herding. We can take calves and just go nearby places and do the stuff. And they all agreed, and then they all of them were very excited. They were going just nearby place, not so far where mother could hear them and like they can find out where they are. So, but still in those places, first demon Vatsasur came in the form of a calf, and Krishna killed him. Boys tried to tell the parents, but they somehow did not pay so much attention. But when it came to Bakasur, when they were all going to drink water near Yamuna, all the calves and the boys, they saw a giant demon, crane bird. And at once, in first sight, they could understand that this is the ferocious animal and it could devour them. They are very intelligent, they could understand. And all the devta, they were present in the sky, in the clouds, and like waiting what is going to happen. Then that Bakasur at once swallowed Krishna, and they were like doing, alas, what happened, what will happen? And all the cowherd boys, they fainted. And Krishna saw the agony of his friends and the demon, devtas, and he at once came out of the mouth of Bakasur and teared his beak apart and put him into, tear him apart into two separate pieces. And they were very happy, and it was so glorious for cowherd boy to see this killing of Bakasur. So they were very excited, and they went to home. But when they went to home, this time they were so excited, they didn't want to go back to their place. They want to tell everything at that time. So mother welcomed Krishna, all the gopas, and massaged Krishna, bathed him, and this and that. So cowherd boy tried to tell the parents that, oh, this is what happened. But the way they were telling, it was very pleasing. They were not disturbed initially. But when they told the entire story where the Bakasur came and he was killed by Krishna in such a way, then Mother Yashoda became disturbed in her heart because of motherly affection. Although she was happy that this ferocious demon was killed finally. But she was thinking that we have changed this place, Vrindavan, from Mahavan because of the attack of demon. But now again my darling son is facing so many, attacks of all these demons. So how to avoid this? And just thinking in this way, she said, no, Krishna, I would not allow you to go to forest. There are so many servants in my family who can do this work. You don't have to do all these things. So she stopped him. And but Krishna was like, no, Maya, they are lying. It's not like that. So, but she did not agree because of her, maternal affection. Then finally, after some time, when Krishna entered into his Pagand age, which is 5 to 10, Kishore is between, before 5. Till 5, it's, sorry, not Kishore. No, before Pagand, it's, I forgot what it is called. Balya. We call it something else as well. But Pagand is stage start when the child start growing. It's 5 to 10, and then after 10 he become Kishore, 10 to 15. So when Krishna entered in his pagan age, he had a desire once again, because that time he started playing flute. And Vrindavan Vasi, they were so captivated by his flute, and they used to ask, can you play flute? We will put tilak on you. And like they were giving him so many, allurement, so that he can mesmerize them with his sweet playing flute. Means we cannot imagine how 5-year-old kid can play flute. My daughter is 6.5, and if she will play flute like that, I would be, oh my God. But he is Krishna. For him, everything is possible. So at the age of 5, he was playing very sweet flute, and he had a desire that now it's my time to go in the forest, have my lunch with my friends. So he asked mother, and mother said, no, you cannot go. He said, Maiya, whether you say yes or no, I would definitely go on the name of God. He was so persistent. He took a vow that this time I would go, whether she would say no. So when he woke up, he blew the bugle. And on his bugle, because they all decided, it's not like that he had decided and he didn't tell his friend. They all decided, okay, we are going to go to forest. So he blew the bugle, and everybody woke up, and Krishna was waiting outside. And Balram's servant, he came that Balram had some work, so he cannot accompany you. It is mentioned at 2 different places that Balram mentioned that his maternal uncle came to visit him, and in other place it is mentioned that since it was pagan Leela, that he's going, it's 5 years, and he is going for forest for calf herding. So they should perform some yajna. So Brahmana came, and they wanted Balram to stay back and do this thing. So these are 2 different places it is mentioned. So Balram did not go. And all these things where these cowherd boys are suffered, means like not suffered, like they have this kind of mishappening when Balram is not there. Once he was not there when Kalia came. And now this time, Aghasur time, he was not there. And Brahma Mohan Leela also, Balram is not there, because it's hard to handle 2 lords. It's hard to handle 1 lord. When 2 lords are there, it's even more harder. So, so Balram stayed home, and they went to the forest. But meanwhile, Krishna requested Maiya to prepare some nice preparation for them to eat in the forest. So they Maiya prepared like thick yogurt and rabdi and cake, different variety of cake, chip rice with different flavors, so many variety of food stuff she made. And when all the boys came, and it is said that boys were in millions of numbers, means countless. We can imagine. And how Mother Yashoda managed all these things, because she was also having so many servants. So they cooked so many variety, kept it in the pot, not in lunchbox, in pots. And Krishna distributed those weight to all his friends. So then she brought more prasadam to take to the forest. So they hang the pots on the shoulders with the help of a stick. So they were going to the forest, and they were like playing flutes, bugle, and they were decorated nicely. And as soon as they reached to the forest, after a long time, when they were having this kind of fun, so they decorated themselves with flower birds, gunja mala, and all different wildflowers. So while going, they had different kind of play. Like they were chasing Krishna when Krishna was like moving ahead, and they were chasing him, that we will catch Krishna first. And reaching there, they had their lunchbox. They were throwing to each other, and they were like trying to, the person who had his lunchbox, he was like chasing the person who is throwing, and he was like upset. And once he gets like he's about to cry, then they used to give him to beg. And also they were doing other fun activities um, like Krishna was tired, so they were all sitting under the tree, having their stacks near the tree. And some of the boys started imitating peacock, like jerking their neck like this. And they were sitting like swan, trying to match him. And also because of the waterfall, there was a creek. So that creek was long. So when means they wanted to cross that creek. So when they were crossing, the frog were also jumping. So they were jumping with the frogs. And when they saw their reflection, the reflection was long. You know, when we see our reflection in something which is not like plain, when we have plain mirror, we have same kind of reflection. But we have, when we have like convex or concave mirror, our reflection is either bigger or smaller. So that creek made their reflection very funny. And by seeing their reflection, they became very, bewildered. What is this? And they started laughing. and also it is said that there are the place where that place was like that. When they were shouting, the echo was coming, they were shouting more. And like they were like using different kind of abusive language for those echoes. This kind of fun they were doing. And also, other than the lunch box, now we can imagine that how many play they had. It is not only, they were not limited only one game. They had variety of games. And they invented by themselves. They were hiding each other's flute, bugles, stacks, this and that. And that's how they were having fun. And also they were playing constable and thief. One person was king. This kind of play, and they were having fun. And then Aghasur came. Because, in their fun play, they were not noticing that they want to eat, they have to eat. So now in their interruption of the activity, for interrupting the activity, Aghasur came. It is said by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So they need interruption because they were not free without doing any enjoyment. They were just enjoying like anything. So when Aghasur came, he was sent by Kansa because he was a brother of Bakasur and Baki, Putna. So he opened his mouth wide open like Bakasur. And like when all these cowherd boys, they recognized Bakasur in the same way they recognized Aghasur as well, that he could be a python. They were, there were two groups of people. They were like discussing, oh, this could be python. Oh, this looks like mountain. These looks like mountain peaks. And the whole is looking like cave. And this is a platform. This is very nice. Let us go there. But other group of people, they were saying, no, don't go. It is python. He said, oh, come on. Like Krishna killed Bakasur. Oh, yeah, the Krishna killed that demon. If it happened to be a snake, Krishna will take care. But when Krishna saw, he at once stopped. And he wanted to stop them. But since they were discussing, and they were not saying anything to Krishna, they just entered into the cave of Aghasur. They knew that this warm breath is like very stinky, and it is like a dead animals, and it is suffocating. But they wanted to go. They wanted to have fun. And although they had surrender on Krishna, so if Krishna is there, nothing to worry. He just now killed one demon. So they entered, but at this point, Aghasur did not close his mouth because he wanted Krishna to be killed. He wanted Krishna to enter in his mouth because he was the culprit who killed Putna and Bakasur. And it is mentioned, I think in 14 or 15 verse, that since all these boys, along with Krishna, they were the life life of their parents. If they are killed, if something happened to kids, their parents are dead. So that way, by killing Krishna and cowherd boy, he can kill the entire Brajvasi. He can destroy entire Vrindavan. So that way he can take the revenge. He wanted to offer, it is mentioned in one verse and one translation. I think it will come in the, or it has already come, that he wanted to offer them as a sesame and water to the Bakasur and Putana. So when they were like, they entered and Krishna entered there. Now what happened? Now, which verse we are on? 29, right? We just finished reading 28. Yeah. Yeah. So now 29.
When Krishna entered the mouth of Aghasura, the demigods hidden behind the clouds exclaimed, "Alas, alas!" But the friends of Aghasura, like Kamsa and other demons, were jubilant.
When the invincible Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, heard the demigods crying, "Alas, alas!" from behind the clouds, he immediately enlarged himself within the demon's throat, just to save himself and the cowherd boys, his own associates, from the demon who wished to smash them.
Yeah, at the time of Bakasur as well, all these devta, they were scared because all these demons, they were really very powerful. And if somebody is being killed by Krishna, so that means they are really very powerful, that they are personally being killed by Krishna. So all these devta like Lord Shiva, Brahma and Indra, all the other demigod, they gathered together in the sky. They were watching all this, what is being done, what is going on. And it is said that since Kansa sent this Aghasur, so Kansa's spy, they were also watching them. So these demons, they were happy, it is said. Demons were happy, but demigod were very much in distress. So by seeing the distress of his devotee, Krishna doesn't like to see his devotee be in distress. So Krishna at once wanted to remove their tension. So he started enlarging his body. And the demon's throat started to suffocate. The life air was like not coming. Yes, next.
Then, because Krishna had increased the size of his body, the demon extended his own body to a very large
Because
size.
he was trying to breathe. He wanted his body to be expanded because he wanted room in his body so that he can live some more time.
Nonetheless, his breathing stopped, he suffocated, and his eyes rolled here and there.
Yeah, nobody can win the competition between Krishna and the living entity. Krishna is increasing his size. The demon is increasing his size. So who will win? Krishna, definitely. So Krishna won, and breathing of demon stopped. He got suffocated. His eyes rolled here and there because the breathing was not coming. So he was trying to, his body part were trying to move and find the way to get air, the passage of the air. So his eyes rolled here and there and popped out.
The demon's life air, however, could not pass through any outlet, and therefore it finally burst out through a hole in the top of the demon's head.
Yeah. So to Bakasur, he killed in different way. Like he came out of the mouth of the Bakasur, he could have done this way as well because he was already in the mouth of Bakasur. But that style was different and this style is different. Here he increased the size in such a way that he suffocated the demon and demon was burst. And there was a hole in his head. And since demon is dead, now what will happen?
When all the demon's life air had passed away through that hole in the top of his head, Krishna glanced over the dead calves and cowherd boys and brought them back to life. Then Mukunda, who can give one liberation, came out from the demon's mouth with his friends and calves.
Well, how fortunate is the body of Aghasur that even though Aghasur is dead, Krishna is still there because his friends are there. They are not unconscious, they are dead practically. They are in the mouth of a venomous snake, and because of the poison, they are Krishna. See, it is mentioned that it dead calf and the cowherd boy. So that means they are dead. So Krishna revived them. How? By the, it is not mentioned by how, but by his eyes. By looking at them, he revived them. And they came out of the mouth of Aghasur. Then what happened to the soul of Aghasur? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so now demon is dead already in verse 31st, and in 32 verse it is mentioned that Krishna revived his dead friends and calves. Then what happened to the soul of Aghasur? So let's see text 33. Pina hi bhogo thitam adbhudam maha ज्योति स्वधाम्ना ज्वल यद्दिशो दशा प्रतीक्षखे अवस्थितमीश निर्गमम् विवेश तस्मिन् मिषतां दिवोकसाम् पीना हि भोगोतितमद्भुतं महत् ज्योति स्वधाम्ना जलद्यद्दिशो दशा प्रतीक्षखे अवस्थितमीश निर्गमम् विवेश तस्मिन् मिषतां दिवोकसाम्. Yeah, please repeat. Only two people. पीना हि भोगोतितं भद्भुतं महत् ज्योति स्वधाम्ना जलयदिशो दशा प्रतीक्षके अवस्थितमीश निर्गमम् विवेश तस्मिन् मिषतां दिवोकसाम्. One more devotee. पीना हि भोगो तत्थितमद्भुतं ज्योति स्वधाम्ना जलयदिशो दशा प्रतीक्षके अवस्थितमीश निर्गमम् विवेश तस्मिन् विशतां दिवोकसाम्. Pina, very great. Abhibhoga Uthitam, issuing from the serpent's body, which was meant for material enjoyment. Adbhudam, very wonderful. Mahat, great. Jyotihi, effulgence. Swadhamna, by his own illumination. Jwalayat, making glaring. Dishaha Dasha, all the 10 directions. Pratikshaya, waiting. Khe, in the sky. Avasthitam, individually staying. Isha Nirgamam, until the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna came out. Avivesh, entered. Tasmin, in the body of Krishna. Amishatam, while observing. Divakasham, all the demigods. Translation. From the body of gigantic python, a glaring effulgence came out, illuminating all directions, and stayed individually in the sky until Krishna came out from the corpse mouth. Then, as all the demigod looked on, this effulgence entered into Krishna's body. Actually, this verse is very much eye-opening to those who follow that we are same as Krishna, or we say we can merge into Krishna. We don't have our individual identity. And in translation, it is clearly mentioned that the soul of that individual living entity was waiting there. So that means we have individual identity. We don't become Krishna. This is Mayavadi philosophy. We don't become Krishna, we have individuality. And we have different kind of a stage of mukti, what we can achieve after, once we leave this body. Purport. Govinda, can you please read the purport?
Apparently, the serpent named Agasur, because of having received association with Krishna, attained mukti by entering Krishna's body. Entering the body of Krishna is called Sayugya
Sayujya.
Mukti. But in later verses prove that Agasur, like Dantavakra and others, received the Sarupya Mukti.
So, this could be very bewildering. And it always, since we are like practicing Krishna consciousness, so we can see like the potency of Krishna, but it could be very bewildering to others as well. That how can a demon like Aghasur, who tried to kill Krishna and his friends, can achieve liberation? If we think practically, that why all these demons are getting liberated? And by the way, when we merge in the body of Krishna, Brahman effulgence, it is called Sayujya. And this is not permanent. We cannot stay in Brahman forever. Like once Gopsakha, you must have all heard the story of Gopsakha. He was there in Brahman. It looks very nice, but you are never satisfied because your constitutional position is to act, to serve. But there you are in the situation of Om Shanti. And for a long time we cannot stay as Om Shanti form. We have to do something, the service. So he luckily was there when toenail of Krishna was there. So he could come out from that Brahma Jyoti. But this type of mukti is not, which is like everybody wants. Like some jnanis, they aspire for this, they think that it is ultimate mukti. But this is not ultimate, this is temporary. Yes.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, with references from the Vaishnav Doshani of Srila Jeev Goswami, Aghasur attained Sarupya Mukti, being promoted to the Vaikuntha planets to live with the same four-armed bodily features as Vishnu. The explanation of how this is so may be summarized as follows. The effulgence came out from the python's body and became purified, attaining spiritual Shuddha Sattva. freedom from the material contamination, because Krishna had stayed within the serpent's body even after the serpent's death. One may doubt that such a demon full of mischievous activities could attain the liberation of Sarupya or Sayujya. And one may be astonished about this, but Krishna is so kind that in order to drive away such doubts, he had the effulgence, the individual life of the python, wait for some time in its individuality in the presence of all demigods.
Thank you, Govinda. So, Krishna is full effulgence, and every living entity is a part and parcel of that effulgence. As proved here, the effulgence in every living entity is individual. For some time, the effulgence remained outside the demon's body individually. It is mentioned in that commas that individually. Sometimes people, they ignore all these things and they say we can become Krishna, but it is not like that. We cannot become Krishna. It is clearly mentioned, we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are part of that effulgence, but we are not that effulgent Krishna. And did not mix with the whole effulgence. The Brahma Jyoti, the Brahman effulgence is not visible to materialize, but to prove that every living entity is individual, Krishna had this individual effulgence stay outside the demon's body for some time, for everyone to see. Although it is not possible by material eyes to see all these things, but Krishna made it possible to see. Then Krishna proved that anyone killed by him attains liberation, whether Sayujya, Sarupya, Samipya or whatever. But the liberation of those who are on transcendental platform of love and affection is Vimukti, special liberation. Actually, I was reading somewhere, I don't know, maybe in Kavi Karnapur's book or maybe in Vaishnav Toshni, somewhere I was reading, that people think in this way, these Vaishnava think in this way, since they don't want any kind of liberation. So this kind of liberation is suitable for the demons. They don't want to liberate themselves to get the four-handed form or get the same opulence as Krishna, and they don't want to merge. They want to serve Krishna in their pastime. They want to love Krishna. They are not after all these liberation, though they feel that all these liberation are suitable for these demons, not for us. Thus the serpent first entered the body of Krishna personally and mixed with the Brahman effulgence, and this merging is called Sayujya Mukti. But from later verses we will find that he attained Sarupya Mukti, which is text 38. It explains Aghasur attained the body exactly like that of Vishnu. The way of memorizing it, Sayujya means merging, and Sarupya means become as same in the bodily features of Krishna. The verse after that also clearly states that he attained the completely spiritual body like that of Narayan. Therefore, in 2 or 3 places, Bhagavatam has confirmed that Aghasur attained Sarupya Mukti, and one may then argue that how is it that he mixed with Brahman effulgence? The answer is that as Jai Vijay after 3 births attain Sarupya Mukti and the association with Lord, Aghasur received the similar liberation. It is like not clear that he got this Sayujya liberation in this life only. It could be another. So it is not clearly mentioned here. I don't know, Prabhuji will know about it. He must be knowing about it, but I cannot comprehend this. How is it possible that first he merged into his Brahman effulgence, he got Sayujya, and later verses they are mentioning that he got Sarupya Mukti. No, so it is mentioned that it took Jai Vijay 3 lifetime, 3 births. So that's what I'm mentioning. So it is not. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So this science is very difficult to understand. So when is what? What is when? Means it's very difficult. Yeah. It does not matter for us. We have to we have to become a devotee and do a devotional service. So actually today we have very divine appearance of Srivas Thakur as well. So I would like to glorify Srivas Thakur, and we have crunch of time, but we have so many things to say about Srivas Thakur. He is one of the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Panchatattva, where he facilitated so many different pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is mentioned in Chaitanya Chaitamrita, I think chapter 10, that he is a Jeev Tattva. He is Narad Muni. He is the incarnation of Narad Muni. And they were 5 brothers. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is mentioned there are 4 brothers, but I was hearing one lecture, and then Maharaj mentioned that there were 5 brothers, and their name was Srivas, Sri Ram, Shripati, Srinidhi, and the 5th one was Sri Nalin, whose daughter was Narayani. So Srivas Thakur, actually it is said that he was the incarnation of Narad Muni, but and his brother, second brother Sri Ram, he was an incarnation of Parvata Muni. He is always the companion with Narad Muni. So it is said that during that time when Mahaprabhu was not there, that there was no bhakti in Navdeep. They were like totally into, Durga Puja, Kali Puja, all those Karm Kanda. They used to read Bhagavatam, they used to read Bhagavad Gita, but there was not even a slight mention about devotional service. So it was like the only totally Karma Kanda. So we can imagine that how that Bhagavatam would look like. So all those devotees like Advaita Acharya, who is Mahavishnu himself, he was present there. He was trying to convince all these people, but they were not listening. They were laughing at him, and they were so much in distress in their mind. So what they used to do? For their own, nourishment, they used to go to Srivas Thakur's place and had Hari Katha and Hari Bhajan. That's how they used to do all these closed room sessions, and they were somehow surviving. And once Srivas Thakur, in the night, he was chanting loudly, and they were so disturbed that they thought of themselves, they were discussing of themselves that this Brahmana, we would take him out from his house, we would put his house on fire. It is not only one time it is mentioned. So many times, several times, Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is mentioned, not even same line. They used to say that we will take out this Brahmana, drown him in Ganges, put the fire on his in his house. That's how they used to treat Vaishnavas. And they were like so sad. So then Advaita Acharya, he decided that we have to call Lord. I will call Lord. So they all did their own kind of austerity. There it happened to be like Haridas Thakur also happened to be there. He also did his kind of sadhana, like chanting. Haridas Thakur did his Shaligram Puja, and Advaita Acharya. And that's how Lord Gaur Hari came. And it is said that when Lord Gaur Hari came, he was totally different. Like he was very intelligent. As that time Navdeep was a place where it was like a Harvard University. that everybody was having so much knowledge and people used to come take knowledge from there. All Gyanis were there, not Bhakta, only few devotees. So he used to put the argument in front of devotees, and he means forcefully, and he used to counter. He used to ask them to counter his argument, and then he used to counter again their argument. So devotee used to get scared of him. But one thing he used to do, he used to pay obeisances in front of Srivas Thakur. He used to respect Srivas Thakur. And all these devotees, Gadadhar Pandit and all these Srivas Thakur, they used to pray that he is so intelligent. If he becomes devotee, then it will be very nice, and by very nice enhancement in their association. So once Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when he became devotee, when he met Ishwarapuri, his spiritual master, he started showing that symptoms, the ecstasy, shivering, all these things. So earlier when he was small, Gaur Hari was small, so something happened that he started throwing everything, and Mother Shachi got scared that he had some, the problem with Vat, that made him mad. Then again when she saw Gaur Hari acting in different weird way, like shivering and we say fluttering, like ba ba ba, like speak like that, stuttering like this. So she again got scared. She tried so many Vaidya, she asked so many people, and nothing was happening. Then she talked to Srivas Thakur, and Srivas Thakur said, he does not have any disease. He does not have any problem with the air. So rest assured that he is fine. Then Gaur Hari, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he wanted to start his Nagar Sankirtan. And there Srivas Thakur played very nice role. That before starting, because that was a movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to give Prem Sankirtan to his devotee. He wanted to nourish them by his love. So he decided that he would perform Sankirtan every night in the house of Srivas Thakur. How sanctified his house is. Every night Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his associate, they used to come, and he instructed them, you have to close the door, nobody is allowed. And there were so many things happened. One time his Srivas Thakur's mother-in-law happened to be there, and it is said that Gauranga Mahaprabhu was not getting ecstasy, so he instructed him that somebody is there, throw him out of the house. So they found out his mother-in-law is there. It is said that we don't get to chastise our mother-in-law, but that time Srivas Thakur was got this opportunity. He pulled his mother-in-law by her hair, and later on he apologized her. And so they used to do different bhajan, and they used to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to do different kind of dancing, and nobody knew what is going on. So it is said, it is mentioned in Chaitanya Chaitamrita that 4 places Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always there. First place, Shachi Mata's altar, his home, he is always there. Second place is where Nityananda Prabhu is dancing. There is always Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Third is at Raghunath's house or Raghunandan, Raghav Pandit house. He is always there. And fourth is where the Kirtan is happening in Srivas Thakur's house. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always there. So how important, how dear Srivas Thakur is for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srivas Thakur was so dedicated that one of the main incident, like his son died in his house, and he was not like ready to disturb the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his kirtan. So he was so devoted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he surrendered his house, he surrendered his son, entire family. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reciprocated in that way also. One time it was rumored that the Muslim king is going to attack Navadip, and they were scared that what is going to happen. So they all started saying that throw this Brahmana out of their house, put his house on fire, and drown this man in the Ganges. So he was scared that that Mohammedan king is going to send his soldiers to arrest him, because he was very, very innocent devotee, means not like crooked and, oh, I have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I don't have to be feared, this, but he got little scared. So he went in his temple and he started playing in front of his Narsingha Shila, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and sat on his altar, and since he is Krishna, he said, you worship me, and he gave assurance to him. That is a different pastime where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said so many things that if they would come, then I will go there and tell the Qazi that make them cry, by chant the name of your Allah and make them cry, and then I will say the name and make them cry. When these kind of arguments were there, so he gave them assurance that don't be scared, I am there. So that's how he did different pastime at their home, and this is where he gave mercy to Narayani as well, who was his brother Sri Nalin's daughter, and later on she got widowed. Then she came back to the house of Srivas Thakur again, and she gave birth to Vrindavan Das Thakur, who wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat, the childhood pastime of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I think I'm over time. So with this we would end. Srivas Thakur ji ki jai, Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.